Welcome to Where They Wander. We are Kat and Kev, and we travel full-time around the United States in our Grand Design Imagine.
We are heading now to New Orleans, and I am so excited.
Stay tuned to the end of this video because we will be visiting Bill E's Bacon in Alabama, where they make their own bacon.
We are at the Banff Bonnet Car Spillway.
Oh, it's like
something.
Like Pontchartrain.
Like Pontchartrain.
And it's huge, like the ocean. If you look this way, you can't even see the other side of it. It's like massive lake here.
This is
It
crazy.
goes all the way across the southern part of Louisiana here. We're right on the edge of the lake.
Right, and these raised roads, we've been on these raised, well, this is the 10 freeway. And, you know, coming from California, we've driven on the 10 freeway. And this is crazy.
We stayed at the beautiful St. Bernard State Park, just 30 minutes from Café du Monde. Well, we have made it in here. We've got our parking space, which is just there.
Yeah, it was a little stressful, but there is a app you can use and you can book a parking space in advance. We would suggest that and we'll put a link to that below. But now we're going to go to the Café du Monde and have beignets and café du lait. Okay, in the Café du Monde, and there's the toilet, and here's the kitchen. Not quite sure how cleanliness that is, but hey. So, this cafe serves two things, café au lait and beignets. Let's go see if Kev managed to order. That's not quite enough sugar, is it? Oh no, it's not. He's gonna put you in our YouTube video. I'm sorry, wait, what? You've worked here for 48 years?
You're not old enough.
I know. Before quarter. Now
It was all a quarter?
yeah, and then when I stopped now, 425, 425.
That's a lot of sugar.
Wow. Oh my gosh, so good.
Okay, this coffee's got chicory. What do you think?
Oh, it's yummy.
Is it really?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. I love coffee. I'm a huge coffee fan.
Hot, be careful.
Let's see if I like it with chicory in it. I don't know why I feel like it's going to be really bitter, but let's see. Okay, all right, I'm pleasantly surprised. That is really, really good. Okay, we're going to go on our tour in a minute, but we have to have this sustenance first. All right, so here we are, the 1850 house. It was built in 1850. This is a 3-story building. This was built for a wealthy lady. I've forgotten her name, but I will find out. This here is the Baroness de Pontalba and the Pontalba buildings. This was once the wealthiest woman in New Orleans. She was born here in 1795, obviously of French descent, and she had this house built as her home.
The French Quarter and the Pontalba row houses declined with the economic upheaval of the Civil War. After the Baroness de Pontalba's death in 1874, ownership passed to heirs who felt little connection to the New Orleans property. By the turn of the 20th century, the building had become tenements. In the early 1920s, a stream of young artists, musicians, photographers, writers, performers, and other creative individuals moved to the French Quarter and changed the character of the neighborhood.
From 1935 to 1937, the Work Progress Administration employed workers to do $900,000 worth of restoration on both Pontalba buildings, and the townhouses were subdivided into apartments. The museum opened the 1850 house to the public in 1948. This building is on the right-hand side as you look at Jackson Square, and Jackson Square used to be the Place d'Armes.
Residents of this area shop for food at the nearby French Market, established by the Spanish city government in 1791. The market became known as the French Market in the 1840s due to the strong Francophone presence in the neighborhood.
Believe it or not, there are still apartments in this building, and it's often referred to as the oldest apartment building in the United States. It offers unparalleled living experience in New Orleans.
Just so you know, these stairs are anything but level or straight.
Here we are on the first floor, and we find the dining room and portraits of the owners of the house.
Samuel Stewart. Born in Ireland, Samuel emigrated to New York as a young man and settled 6 years later in New Orleans, where he married a native of the city, Marie Marguerite Nisada Giselle. The couple had 13 children. Woman, girl, 13 children.
Here we are in the dining room, complete with sound effects.
In the 1850s, the residents hand-painted old Paris porcelain and New Orleans silver would have been illuminated by candlelight and gasolier. Because the residents of this house were tenants who lived here for a few years at a time, the 1850 house does not represent any single family. Rather, it reflects mid-19th century prosperity, taste, and daily life in New Orleans. Much of the furniture originated in or around New Orleans.
Everything to the right of this wall is the 1850s museum, and everything to the left are the apartments we talked about. What an incredible place to live. We made our way through Lafayette Park and into Jackson Square, where the first thing you come upon is this incredible statue of Andrew Jackson. This is actually a statue of him inspecting the troops during the Battle of New Orleans in the War of 1812. And of course, the cathedral, which is stunningly beautiful. This is the St. Louis Cathedral, named after the sainted king of France, Louis IX. There's actually been a church here since 1727. The official cathedral was built and opened in 1794. Sadly, at the end of that year, there was a massive fire and it was burnt to the ground. The current St. Louis Cathedral was built in the 1850s. In September of 1987, the cathedral witnessed the historic visit of Pope John Paul II, and the plaza directly in front of the church was renamed in the Pope's honor. This is a copy of the Bible of St. Louis. It was originally illustrated between 1226 and 1234 in Paris. The original is actually in the Cathedral of Toledo in Spain, and this copy was presented in the year 2000.
Top tip from Kat, if you're not sure about taking photographs or angles and so on, just watch someone with a really good camera take some photographs and then just go do what they did.
This is Louis DeFeo Jr. He was originally from France, but he became America's first ever licensed pharmacist, and he opened this shop in 1823. The New Orleans Pharmacy Museum is not only a great attraction, it is also said to be haunted due to the atrocities in this building. Sadly, it was closed the day we were there.
Yes, we have been walking around a little while, and as you saw, we went to all those places in the museum, but we just couldn't resist. We walked past this cutest cafe ever, and yeah, we did it again.
When New Orleans was the capital of the Spanish province of Louisiana, this street was called the Calais de Chartres. We continued on down, passing the iconic streetcars that you can take on a tour around Louisiana, and headed up Bourbon Street. This is one of the oldest and most iconic bars in New Orleans. Built in the late 1700s, it became a coffee house in 1815 and later an absinthe house. Absinthe originally was considered poisonous. It created hallucinations and terrible, terrible things for people. This is no longer an absinthe house. It now sells frozen daiquiris.
This is Bourbon Street. It's famous for bars and partying and, you know, walking along the streets with your drinks and Mardi Gras. That's what this place is famous for. So this is the party district. We came down here because you just got it. When in New Orleans, we don't drink, but that doesn't mean we don't like the architecture and the atmosphere and stuff. These buildings are gorgeous, you know? Look at that. We just happened to be watching a movie or a show where we started to watch Interview with the Vampire, the show, and one of the quotes from the movie was, New Orleans is not a place you visit during the day. The daytime is to recover from the night before. And let me tell you, this place is definitely a nighttime venue. It is not for daytime viewing. Bourbon Street looks a little sad. It looks a little, you know, it's quite tawdry, I think is the word. This is Edison Plaza, and it has some famous New Orleans musicians here. This is the restaurant that our camp host suggested we go to. It's a little bit pricey for our budget, but it is beautiful. My goodness. This is the Court of Two Sisters, and it was established in 1832.
This is the Cornstalk Fence Hotel. Once a private home, the owner's wife missed the Midwest so much that her husband commissioned the fence to be built. And the fence looks like a row of cornstalks. It's very cute. It's now a hotel, but sadly, it is currently closed.
Our next stop was the Voodoo Museum. It was $10 for a self-guided tour, but they asked us not to film inside.
No, this is not Bourbon Street. It's actually a lot prettier, I think. It's not quite as tawdry and as alcohol-driven as the other place, but it's still getting ready for Mardi Gras, so I'm pretty sure that the floats probably come this way. We're actually quite glad we're not here for Mardi Gras. I think that would be a little overwhelming for us.
Joan of Arc, also known as the Maid of Orleans, was just a teenager when she led the French against the English siege of Orleans. This is just one of the reasons she has become the unofficial patron saint of New Orleans. This beautiful statue of Joan was gifted from France to New Orleans in 1999.
We have finished with our historic French Quarter of New Orleans. New Orleans it's a really beautiful place, and it's right on the Mississippi River. Oh, look, you got the Mississippi Queen right there. Look at that.
Delta Queen.
The Delta Queen. They have these cute little streetcars that you can get. I think you can do like a historic streetcar tour. We just wanted to do a walking tour because A, we ate a ridiculous amount of beignets, and B, we do like to walk when we don't get the opportunity to hike.
We've made our way to the official port of New Orleans. After the establishment of New Orleans in 1718, vessels docked along this riverfront to import supplies to the French colony and export its commodities. By the early 1800s, thousands of ocean-going vessels arrived annually, and the levee teemed with workers and cargoes in transit. In 1896, the Louisiana legislature created the Board of Commissioners of the Port of New Orleans, which today oversees containerized facilities uptown, break bulk cargo along with the industrial canal and many other assets.
This is the site of the transatlantic slave trade to Louisiana. The trade of human beings from Africa to Louisiana began in 1718 with the first slave ship, the Aurora, and the Duc de Maine arriving in 1719. They carried 451 enslaved Africans to the Louisiana colony.
Okay, we are at Bill E's Bacon in Alabama.
Did we come here simply because friends of ours also came here? It's a Harvest Host. And they said they had the best bacon ever.
I'm just turning this way so they can see the rig right there.
We may well have done that. So now we're going to go in and have everything bacon.
Yeah, and we're going to stay right there for the night.
Yeah, that sounds good. Good trade.
It's middle of the day still in all these cars. It's in the middle of the week.
Yeah.
Yeah, the bar is hopping, I think.
We were thinking there would be nobody in here.
This beautiful room to ourselves. And we can sit in there. It's a little louder in there. You can hear the music. We hope you enjoyed this one-day tour of New Orleans. Join us next week as we head to the Everglades National Park and volunteer with Habitat for Humanity. Until then, we'll see you on the trail.